Hello, you lot. How are you doing this fine morning, this 3-1 morning? It is Connor. We're back with another One Leeds video. Before we start the video, please make sure you're liking the video. I hope you're enjoying the content recently. We'll have probably another video out for you today. We've got Generation Leeds coming up as well, probably later on today. That's going to be on the Patreon. As I say, guys, if you want a little bit of additional content where I post maybe a few other bits and bats which you might enjoy, head on over to the Patreon. It's about £4 a month. Link in the description below. All the proceeds go to the running of the channel, which now I will be focusing on a hell of a lot. Let me get into the comment section below. Hey, Mike. Hope you're all good. Morning, Louis. How you doing? Lots of echo, is there? Let me just sort that out for you, mate. Shouldn't be. Lots of echo. Is that for everybody? Please let me know. On the settings, it's pretty bang on. In terms of audio, but please let me know if there is. Morning, hello. I still think Melee was at fault for the goal. Ed says, I was worried yesterday it was going to be another draw. Thought Swansea played really well, actually, and we were not clinical enough. But regardless, we've got the 3 points. Hi, Jamie. Hope you're all good. Danny's in the building. Morning, Mr. Mac. Hello. Hope you're all good. Ollie's in the building. No echo. Thank you. User error. Caught a live stream this morning, Mr. C. You did indeed, my friend. Going to be a test for Leicester. I think confidence will be shaking a little. So, let's get on to the obvious, shall we? Let's get on to the obvious. I think, we're all talking about, well, a lot of you guys are talking about in the comment section below. It's Leicester dropping points. And listen, it's not been the best. If you're compartmentalising the 5 games that Leicester have played, 4 or 5 last games, it's not been good. The 4 or 5 last games that Ipswich have played, not that good, So I think we're in a pretty good state right now. I honestly think we're in a pretty good state, and I don't think that there's any need to worry as a Leeds United fan. I think we just have to be near perfect, and I know that's a real difficult thing to adjust to, but I do think we're going to have to be like that. That is just going to have to be the Leeds United going forward, because we've just left ourselves that gap between Ipswich and Leicester. But do I think it's recoverable? 100%. You saw last night, 1-1. We've gained more points back on Leicester. That tally can easily be made up with a couple of losses, which we saw with Leicester. When they lost to Borough, they lost to us. That's all it takes. It really is all it takes. And sometimes I was on the watch on last night, and it gets a little bit annoying when you see Ipswich just constantly scoring goals. They are scoring a lot of goals, I will say that, in the Championship. But I do thoroughly believe that this is going to turn around at some point. I promise. That is a genuine expectation. It's not me just saying it for the cameras. I feel at some point this will change, and Leeds will get the luck of the draw when it comes to positioning. Smash a like and subscribe, please. Danny's doing my job for me. Strout made a mistake. Yeah, we'll get on to that in a little bit. Porton Biohazards says, we're playing at 75 and 85%. We haven't totally clicked yet. When we do, boom. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think you saw last night, and we're going to get into this, is one of the things that I learned about last night, and I've known for a while, to be honest with you, and I think you guys have known it as well, but we'll start on it. Number one, it's Leeds United sort of dealing with the press, and I think in the second half, you saw Swansea almost tire. That's what I got from the game, and a lot of people were saying on the watch along that they were going to tire, and it felt like they did. It felt like they got to a point where it was a bit difficult for them to keep up with Leeds. Leeds' energy was brilliant. It was brilliant. But in that first half, it threw me back a little bit to Southampton in terms of the effectiveness of a press. Stoke City, the effectiveness of the press against this Leeds side. And sometimes we can't really get away from this, but sometimes it does feel, and I want to get your guys' opinions on this, and it's just a general thought process and what I'm viewing. Leeds do struggle game plan wise when they are put under a severe press, and I think Duff recognised that. I think Swansea boss, his name's left me. Alex Neil recognised that as well. Russell Martin recognised that. If you do press Leeds and you commit to a press, and you almost don't worry about what's going to happen, which is very, very difficult, you're going to cause Leeds problems. You're going to cause Leeds problems way more times with a press than you are if you just stand off. And teams just come to our road and seem to stand off, try to defend, and they get peppered. Sometimes we always think that, it's a low block. Well, Leeds can't break down a low block. The majority of times this season, we've been up against a low block and we've won games. A low to mid block. The issue with Leeds United is when it's a pressing team. I think that's when we struggle. And I think you saw that in the first half. They were doing a remarkable job. They set up really, really well. Outnumbered us in the midfield. Went almost man for man with our centre-backs, with Jerry Yates and Jamal Lowe. And they'd rotate. You'd have Jamie Patterson just stood on Ampadu. And we couldn't get out. were really, really struggling, and they were good on the ball. Like we for some reason weren't applying a press back to them, and Farker addressed that in his post-match comments. He turned around. Did I say Michael Duff? Apologies if I didn't, mate. I don't know what did I say. Swansea got a different manager every week, so that's probably why. But yeah, apologies for that. Yeah, it's Michael Duff, the Swansea boss. But yeah, so he committed to it. He committed to it, and I think there's a lot of. I think Farker's got to figure out a way, and as I've just mentioned in his post-match press conference, he said, Daniel Farker, that we adjusted the press in the second half. So they didn't really commit to a press, Leeds United, in that first half, and you saw so many problems. So it's going to be fascinating to see going forward if teams now fully commit to a press against Leeds, because there is proof in the pudding that it does work. And you saw that we're all coming on last night and saying, this is absolutely dross, this is awful, we can't keep the ball. It's because Swansea committed to a press, the midfield and their attack committed to it. And, you saw the fullbacks as well doing a pretty decent job on our wingers for the large portion of it. Cutting off those triangles that Kamara, Somerville and Perot like to play. So it's interesting. Morning, pal. Hi, Jay. Hope you're good, mate. Yeah, overall, there's 180 of you in the chat now, everybody. Please make sure you're just slapping a like on the video. You can always come back and watch the full content if you're missing out. But yeah, I found that quite interesting. Okay. What else did we learn? And guys, get your opinions in the comment section as well. What did you learn from last night? I thought last night it was interesting to see Joel Perot. He looked a lot more confident. I know it was against his old team. It's hilarious seeing all the Swansea fans getting the knickers in a twist about Joel Perot. Apparently because he celebrated, he's now a demon to them. So yeah, they were not happy at that one. But yeah, quite funny to see from a Leeds United perspective. But I thought last night he at points was playing in a more advanced position. And Sam, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong there. We adjusted to a press, but I'm not sure there was a press in that first half. I still don't know with Daniel Farker what this press is. We've got very good players. And I'm just going to touch on this for a second because I think Sam makes a really good point. We've got very good players, very good footballers. But for me, at points, we don't see us doing it enough. We don't see us playing football. I think a lot of it goes straight to the front men, and let's hope. There's a lot of times where I'm turning around and saying it's Somerville or bust. You've heard me say that on a stream, and I think, a lot of it is that. I think we could break teams down with us completely annihilating them through possession-based football. And I've mentioned previously that Leeds do have a lot of possession, but I think we could have more. I think we could dictate games by having the ball and really grinding down the opposition. I think a lot of it sometimes is just giving the ball to Somerville and seeing what happens. And that's a Farker issue, I think. I think we need to commit to a press. I think we need to commit to having the ball more and more and more and not always forcing it through to the front men. That's my opinion. So let's get on to Joel Perot. So I've mentioned, as George Tasker says there, he's spoken there about Patrick Bamford. Joel Perot, I did think last night at points he was a little bit more advanced. In the first half, I mentioned on the watch-along that Rutter still seemed to be that focal point. You saw with Rutter's goal as well, that he is the focal point. He's the front man. Ampadu plays the ball over. Jorginho Rutter with a Bergkamp-esque touch and lovely finish. By the way, goal of the season. Goal of the season. I don't care how many stonkers have been shot from outside the box and have hit the top bins. The technique to do that, you'll never see in the Championship again because there's no one as good as him technically in the Championship. There's not. So to do what he did at that moment with the defender breathing down his neck, picking the ball out, it's Bergkamp-esque. And we all know what goal we're talking about. Unbelievable. But he seemed like the furthest man forward. So the difference with Joel Perot is, obviously, Perot will normally drop back into that 10. Drop back into that 10, be that man. And for the second half, I thought he was back into that 10 role. But I did think he was a little bit further forward. So instead of a number 10, he was acting normal as a bit of a shadow striker to Rutter, and Rutter was dropping back a little bit. It was interesting to see him play a little bit more advanced. Not as a sole striker, I thought, but almost playing just off the back of Jorginho Rutter. And that is where I think he's going to be at his most dangerous at points. But I thought you saw a lot more from Joel Perot last night. Whether or not that was Swansea, his old club, yada, 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 who knows. But I thought he was really, really good. I thought he was good last night. A little annoying points in the first half where I think he can just be a little bit sluggish. But overall, I thought he was excellent last night. Beautiful. I think we're talking about the goal. Ampson Rodon seemed a little sloppy last night. Yeah, definitely agree with Ampadu. Ampadu was poor first half. We're not getting rid of anyone in Jan, especially not Cree. Maybe Willie out on loan, or if a mega bid comes in. Jay in the building, a Patreon member and an overall legend. I thought Ampadu started really slowly last night. Got caught in possession, second to loose balls, and we couldn't pass water at times. But got his head up and played a perfect pass over the top for Rutter. Yeah, Jay, and do you know what, mate? I've seen a lot on social media about this being like a Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard-esque ball. It was a good ball over the top. I thought vision-wise it was very good, but you know, let's be honest, that was all Rutter. That was all Rutter. It was a good ball from Ampadu, but you know, it was on, no disrespect, but it was a bit of a roofed ball, wasn't it? I thought Rutter made that. I thought Rutter made that into an exceptional ball. He was, the touch and everything was beautiful. But yeah, fair play for Ampadu for the ball. It was a good ball. But I just think everyone's getting a bit excited about the ball. But yeah. But listen, overall, I think the second ball is a really good point, Jay, because if you're not pressing as a unit, how on earth are you going to win the second ball? Because you're not up there as a unit. You know, if you get a lucky deflection, is it going to bounce to one of your players? Well, no, because Kamara, Ampadu, Perot haven't committed to a press. So if they've not committed to a press and Jorginho Rutter wins a rebound, how on earth are we going to win the second ball? We're not. So that's what I mean when I talk about a press. And that's what the difference was with Marcelo Bielsa. And we have to refer to God for this one. But when you had a press, you committed as a press. You committed as a team. And I don't think we're doing that at the minute. Listen, somebody asked me about Daniel Farke last night. I don't think he's doing a bad job. But what I would say is if we had this calibre side at the start of the season, and I know what I said about position, but Leeds didn't have this calibre of side at the start of the season. If Leeds had this calibre side, and you asked me at the beginning of August how we do, I'd say top 4. So it's very hard to judge right now Daniel Farke because I expected us to be in this position. And there is no way Leeds United should be in any other position with the quality that we've got. The quality that we've got, we should be nowhere near below, you know, the top 4 at all. So it's different. It's almost like he's doing a good job. What I say he's doing an exceptional job. An exceptional job would be us being top of the league and being far away from anyone, you know. A very good job would probably us be being in the top 2. A good job is us being sort of 3rd, 4th right now, I think. So it's hard to judge him. But what I am judging him on is that press. I need to see more of that. I think this team is capable. You see when we press, the second half we pressed and they couldn't get out. Why are we not committing to that week in, week out? That's what I don't understand. Bit harsh. Beckham made a career off them kind of balls. The ball was on a plate and yeah, you could be right, NJ1. I think it was a good ball. It's just some of the reaction I've seen. I think it maybe a little bit too much, but he's seen it vision-wise, excellent, great execution. But I just don't think it's maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, yeah, potentially. Evening, Connor from Down Under. The team is day and night compared to last season. Yes, work to do, but it's nice to stop and smell. It is, mate, of course. Yeah, a lot of people saying it was a great ball. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Listen, it's just an opinion, isn't it? We can all have them. But yeah, so it's nice to see, obviously, Leeds United developing a little bit. And like Sam said, it's nice, you know, to see us winning games. So another thing that I wanted to touch on, I touched on it a little bit last night, so we'll touch on him in a little bit in terms of Archie Gray. But I wanted to touch a little bit as well on Glenn Kamara. The silky smooth operator, for me, is just developing into arguably the best midfielder we've got at the club. And isn't that great to say? Because we've got another guy at the club who we're all talking about being the best midfielder in the division, and they're different profiles. But when you look at influence, and I know the influence in different ways, but this geezer from Rangers, this Finnish guy from Rangers, is so good. And there's no point comparing Kamara and Ampadu, but in a midfielder, who do I prefer, as in watching, is Kamara, and they complement each other so well. But those two together are just magnificent. They're really, really good. And I don't think it was their fault a lot of the time in the first half. I think Farke had set it up wrong, as I keep saying, in terms of the press. So it was difficult for us to get out, really. It was almost like if we attack them with the press, they're not going to be able to attack us with the press. And as I said multiple times, we didn't commit to it. So I think they were in a lot of trouble. But I think Kamara got Ampadu out of a lot in that first half. I think Ampadu was struggling a little bit. I think Kamara was able to get the ball, move the ball forward, get the ball to our front men. where Ampadu was struggling because he had Jay Fulton on him consistently, Jamie Patterson on him consistently. I think Kamara maybe wasn't being ruffled as much as Ampadu, to be fair to Ethan. But Glenn Kamara was moving us up the pitch. I think in every game now, he's becoming more and more and more and more influential. He never loses the ball, ever. He's very good on his left foot as well as his right. His vision is excellent. His distribution is very good. His IQ is top level when it comes to the Championship and probably the Premier League. And you can see why he's played European football. You know, you can see it. And he's playing at a level below his standard right now. He reminds me a lot of first season under Bielsa Click. Reminds me a lot of Click in that first season. Just in terms of Click never lost the ball. He was silky. He was innovative. He was creative from that deep lying role. He was able to use his left foot as well as his right. He was good going forward, which we're seeing a lot with Kamara now. And I think Glenn Kamara is developing and has developed into Click in his first season under Marcelo Bielsa. The only difference is with Glenn Kamara is he's not getting the goals, but hopefully that's going to come. And that's where you look at Daniel Farke again. Can you push him forward a little bit? Because I think in an almost 8 position, he'd be very, very good. In that second half, he was bursting forward. He's got the legs, he's got the fitness, and he's obviously got the footballing ability. So like Bielsa did with Click when he almost gave him a free roll, I think Kamara with a free roll under Farke, but knowing your duty, I think would be really, really exciting to see. I hear you, Connor. Cheers, lad. No, mate, it's football opinions in it, mate. Of course it is. It probably was a really good ball. It's just, maybe it's because I just thought I saw it as a roofed, and then I just saw Rutter do what he did, and I just thought he made it into an incredible ball. But the ball has to be seen. But if it wasn't for Rutter touch, the keeper would have cleared it away and no goal. That's where I'm kind of at. Yeah, guys, just hit a like on the video. There's nearly 300 of you in the building this morning. The goal was incredible. Great touch strength to hold off the defender. Yeah, it was a good finish. And he didn't have his best game last night. Rutter didn't have his best game last night. It's funny what a goal does, isn't it? It's like Dan James. Dan James didn't have a good game last night. He didn't. But the goal, everyone suddenly then turns around and said he had a 9 out of 10 performance. He didn't. You know, Rutter was average by his standards last night throughout the game, but he got an assist and a goal. So it's funny how things change, and game state is purely reflective of goals and assists. But when you watch the whole 90 minutes, you think, oh, well, he lost the ball there. He wasn't great in a couple of passages of play there. You know, Swansea broke from his touch there. Do you know what I mean? So it's very reflective of goals and assists, football games now, and ratings. I kind of try to look at the whole game, and you include the goals and assists, of course you do, but I don't. I try to look at all the passages of play, or as many as I can, really, and I think that's reflective more of a rating during a game. Jesus, Connor, enjoy the result. I am enjoying the result, mate. Have you watched the post match last night? We're just talking about the things that we learnt from last night. The first half wasn't great. Second half was really, really good. Leeds were excellent. Andy, listen to what I'm saying, mate. Listen to what I'm saying. Just because I'm talking about a press not being engaged doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. I was over the moon last night, and I still am. A win is a win, my friend. I was the one last night who was telling people to be positive about it. Who was saying that we're playing crap. So, come on, mate. Context. If Spence comes in, then we maybe have another midfielder as he's virtually advanced win back. Maybe freeze Kamara to the traditional 8 role. Yeah, good point, Mike. Good point. Hi, Connor. Kamara overshadowed perhaps a little unfairly by Ampadu. Rarely gives the ball. I agree, mate. And listen, goodness me, Ampadu's amazing. I love Ethan Ampadu. I'm the one always bashing Leicester fans for saying that Harry Winks could even tie his bootlaces. He couldn't. But I just think Kamara's developing into just a top midfield. I want to hark you back to the Leicester game where Kamara was the best player on the pitch. You know, in a really top caliber game in the Championship, Kamara was the best player on the pitch, in my opinion, by a country mile. And from that point onwards, he's just got better and better and better and better. So it's great. It's fantastic. You know, it's good. And I think at the minute, what we've seen from Ampadu, because probably of the amount of games he's played, he's just dropped off a little bit. Oh, in my opinion, over the sort of last 3 or 4 games. But you've seen Kamara do that. So I think we saw again last night of the whole 90 minutes. Kamara was the better player, but so what? You know, there's going to be a point in the season where the equilibrium strikes and Ampadu's a better player than Kamara. The beauty about what we saw with Ampadu is last night, something that Tyler Adams couldn't do is distribute the ball long distances. You know, it's run with be a really decent ball carrier. It's, in a sense, to be press resistant a lot as well, Ampadu. And that's what both of them, they complement each other really, really well in that respect. You know, he's got a lot to his game as Ampadu. So he can actually, you know, replenish Kamara if Kamara's not on it as well. And the beauty of this is now we've got Archie Gray, who, you know, I want to touch on as well. Archie Gray, he's just, well, listen, so if you've not caught my post-match from last night, go back and listen to it. Because I, for about 10 minutes, went on about Archie Gray. So I'm not going to go on about him too much. But I'm just so happy with him. And now with Jed coming back, as a lot of you were saying in the comment section below. Yeah, exactly, Jamie. Exactly. I'll tell you what Kamara is. Kamara is better than Mark Rocker. There you go. I'm joking. No, I'm just winding you all up. You all know I like Mark Rocker. But no, I'm a big fan of Kamara. But Archie Gray, as Jamie Edwards has just said there, last night I went on, I was waxing lyrical about Archie. And I think we should do. I think we should celebrate what this academy's produced, which is a youngster who is on the Jude Bellingham trajectory. And that is, you know, it's again every single week we're learning something different about Archie. Just last night, he was just so good. And it'll be overshadowed by Ampadu Ball, Rutter. This is what I'm talking about in terms of goals and assists becoming everyone's number one priority, which I get because they win games. Win games and they lose games. But when you actually look at the game state and how good that kid was, keeping Jamal Lowe completely quiet. And at a point where Jamal Lowe started checking back and going back to Matt Grimes and Jay Fulton and Jamie Patterson because he didn't want to take Archie on. It's a 17-year-old doing that at right back, not in centre mid, his preferred position, at right back. So, as I was saying last night, and if you guys didn't catch it from last night, Jed's got a task. Jed has got a task, and the only thing there's two things that work in Jed's favour: the fact that he is Premier League calibre, and the fact that Archie's probably going to get to a point where we don't want to overplay him because he's going to get tired. But when you look at the footballing ability, listen, there's not a lot of people who come close to Archie Gray at the minute. There's not in this division. So, am I clamouring last night for Jed Spence to start? I am, because it's like a new signing. But I'm looking at Archie and then I'm thinking, well, if Jed starts, Archie's out the team. And I really, really like Archie Gray at the minute. So, it's a great option to have. It's a fantastic debate to have. It's like, well, we'd be speaking about Dan James or Nonto. It's a good conversation to have because you've got an Italian international on the bench. How many people forget about Jadon Anthony? Jadon Anthony, who got 16 goal contributions in the Championship from out wide for Bournemouth last time he was in the division. 16. This is a guy who, when he was last in the Championship, terrorised Swansea. And he's coming on for us with 5-6 minutes to go. You know what I mean? We all want to see these players, but the starting 11 at the minute, and what Farcra will give him a lot of kudos for, is he's keeping that consistent same 11. And that's how you get success. You breed success, as I always say, through consistency. But yeah, I just think it's good that we praise a young lad who's maybe not going to be with us for a long time because of his calibre. Ampadu and Kamara and Rocker further forward. Still talking about Rocker. Excuse me. Archie's ridiculously good, says Jay. Can we just double check his birth certificate? Jay, how old are you, mate? I think when I met you, you looked about 17, mate. Then again, I didn't check your birth certificate, did I? Gray's arguably the best 17-year-old in English football right now. I think he is NJ1. I don't think there's anyone who comes near him, to be honest. The Vultures will circle. You're right, Jamie, 100%. We should try starting Anthony over James. But that's the thing, isn't it, mate? It's we have that now in our locker, like the depth of the squad. And I want to talk about the Swansea boss whinging, Duff, because I said it on my watch-along. He's going to be whinging. He said both goals were poor. And I understand what he's saying. Both goals were poor. He's not saying the Rutter goal was poor. He's saying that the defending was poor. What was poor about that defending? You know, they were sorted as a back four, and then you saw a really good ball from Ampadu, as we've said, a good ball, and Rutter's unbelievable touch. You know, that was all about movement and the vision and the pass. It's nothing about your defenders, fella. And once again, we heard the same old rhetoric again. Oh, well, they can bring Nonso on. There's no point in even playing the game, because every single manager that we play, if we beat them, they come out with the same tripe every single game. Oh, they've got Rutter, they've got Nonso, they've got Somerville, they've got blah, blah, blah. It's all the same things. All the same things. And I tell you what, that is what I love about Daniel Farke. If a team comes and they beat us, or if a team comes and they draw against us, Stoke did it when we drew to Rotherham, he doesn't come out and bitch and moan about everything else. He comes out and just says, yeah, weren't good tonight. They were decent. You know, they were decent. They put up a good fight. Rotherham deserved the draw against us, in my opinion. They came out and they did a job on us. You know, we weren't playing to our standard, which I still don't think we were doing last night. Farke came out and said, okay, fair enough. Yeah, they were good enough. They were, you know, all this sort of stuff. And I get that they don't have the caliber of players to bring on, but it's just excuses. There's no point in even playing the game, according to Michael Duff, because it's the same tripe every, you know, oh, it's so-and-so. They can do this. They can do this. We just hear it from every manager every single game. It just get mildly frustrating, to be honest with you, because it's like, well, you know, yeah, we did bring Nonso on, but what did Nonso do? Really? I mean, don't get me wrong. He was pacey. He was quite creative when he came on. But we'd won the game before that, Michael. We'd won that. You blew your load after the 45th minute. Do you know what I mean? It's like, give respect to the team and the manager for the players on the pitch that you went toe-to-toe with in the first half. But, you know, we were able to tactically, with a little bit more of a press in the second half, break you down and win the game. You know, it's not about Nonso coming on. it's about the 11 on the field who won the game initially. So, yeah, I just think sometimes it's a little bit disrespectful because you don't give credit to the managers. Don't give credit to Leeds United, in my opinion, enough. It's all about, well, you know, they're obviously going to win. They're obviously going to win. It's just, I think it's just excuses, to be honest with you. Borough will be a much much tougher test. David, Byram deserves more praise. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he does. You probably mean from me there, David. As I say, I like Sam. I thought in the first half he was poor. I think his left foot usage isn't good. But he's not a left back by trade, you know. So I think we lose a little bit down that left-hand side because we don't have a natural left back. But I think overall in that second half, he was brilliant. I thought he was really, really good. A tale of two halves for Byram. A tale of two halves for Leeds United. Yeah. Let's get a few of your comments in. Nonso didn't chase down off the ball, and that's why he doesn't start. Yeah, maybe they should just promote us now if all these managers are so unhappy with the quality of our squad. Yeah, exactly. Do you think Ailing looks at Spence and Gray and thinks he should retire? Yeah, and he's never getting in. He's never getting in. He shouldn't have been getting in for a year and a half now. But listen, on this channel, what you guys know, I try to be as real as I can. I'm not just going to come on and because it's Ailing, Cooper, Bamford, Stewie. Listen, they're all great in their own right under the Bielsa era. How long ago was this now? How long? What we're talking? 2018, 19. How long ago was this? Are we just going to keep talking about these? Am I going to be sat in an armchair in 20 years' time? They're going to still be people saying, "Let's have Dallas on the pitch. Let's have Bamford on the pitch. Let's have Coops and Ailing on the pitch." It's just sentiment. It's pure sentiment. Look at the facts. All of them are not good enough to be in this starting 11, and that includes Stuart Dallas. Oh, I know it's going to hurt a few people. A lot of people are going to say, "Oh, Connor, I hate you for that. That's Stuart Dallas. Look what he's done." You're right. Look what he's done. Look what he's done. But this is where we are now. It's a different era. It's not Bielsa. It's not Orta. It's not Rads. It's not Ailing, Coops, Bamford, Dallas. It's a new era now. I love Stuart Dallas. And the only reason I'm focusing on him is because Dallas hasn't played a lot of minutes, and I know a lot of Leeds fans will be like, let's put him back in there. He's not good enough. He's not good enough to be in this Leeds United 11 anymore. And I think Stuart Dallas, this is going to hurt a lot of people, struggles to get into that squad. Even right now in full caliber, I think he does. I think the squad is so strong at the minute. I think Dallas struggles to get in. There's an argument that if we go out in January and get a striker, Bamford doesn't make the bench. So I think it's it's a cycle. It's a cycle right now. Ailing shouldn't be in the squad. You know, we really should be looking, in my opinion, at going out and getting a centre-back and a striker. Cooper doesn't get in the squad. Bamford doesn't get in the squad. It's not because I disrespect them. I appreciate everything they've done for Leeds United, but they're not good enough anymore. They're past it. They're completely past it. So, it is what it is. Dallas could still have... He could still have it. But I think this team, caliber-wise, is better than that team in the Premier League. I think this team caliber-wise is, I mean, you saw that bench last night. It was so strong that we've developed and gone beyond, in my opinion, the old guard. That's what I think. I know I'll get loads of hate for this. I know I will, because people love it's a lot of it is sentiment FC. I'm not in that. I'm not charity FC. I'm in getting this club promoted and us staying in the Premier League and us being a force in the Premier League when we get there. I'm not about being, giving out new. I mean, I've told you this week, Paul Robinson going on about giving Luke Ayling a new contract. What are you talking about, Paul? Listen, and this is the problem with the rhetoric. He knows that's going to resonate with the fans. Saying something like that, saying Stuart Dallas should be given, time in the first team. Why? It's great them being there. It's great them being in the background, the experience. I'm not diminishing that whatsoever. They will have an important role. But should they be starting on the field for Leeds United? Absolutely not. So when Bamford came on, completely passed it. He had a chance from 3 yards, 4 yards out, puts it wide. We know what we're getting. Ayling comes on. We know wingers are going to be skipping past him. Cooper comes on. We know if he's proactive, he's going to get spun in high caliber games, i.e. the Southampton game when Adam Armstrong gave him a lesson. We know with Dallas that if he gets back into this side, there might be a quality drop off, in my opinion. Just caught Nigel, I'm gonna rant, mate. So listen, it's not. I promise you, it's not a harsh rant on these locks. I love them, but the time is over. It's done, and I'm happy with it. Thank you. Let's move on. Now we've got the silky smooth operator. Now we've got Jorginho Rutter, who Dortmund are looking at. Now we've got the best 17-year-old in the country. We've got a really, really exciting few years ahead of us, in my opinion. Thank you, the old guard, for what you've done. It's going to be great experience in the background. But when we're talking about them even making the squad, if Leeds make January editions, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. And why should they? If they do. The only one who I'm turning around and saying maybe is Dallas. Because Dallas, out of all of them, is my favourite. I loved him. I still love him. But for me, it's sentiment. I don't think quality-wise he'll be up to it. I don't. Where are you going to put him? Byram facilitates his old role. If we get a left back, we've got a left back. Byram is that old Dallas. Jed Spence, Archie Gray. He's never getting in at right back. Where's he going? Centre mid. It's not happening. So, Finn says, would you rather the youngsters get the final minutes? Yeah, I do. I do, Finn. Yeah, I do. Because that's the next step, mate. And it's a good question, but that's the next step. Imagine this squad under Bielsa. It's better with more depth, but Rafa. Yeah, exactly. Imagine what Bielsa would be able to do with this caliber of player right now. It'd be unbelievable, because I think a lot of them have the fitness to be able to do what Marcelo Bielsa wanted to do. I fully believe that. Coops and Luke still leading, though, even though they're barely playing. That's a measurement of class. When are they gone? Hopefully, Leeds will have a captain. I agree with you, Luke. I just think maybe people are holding on to that a little bit. Because there's going to have to be a point, mate. There's going to have to be a point where that goes, isn't there? Realistically. There's going to have to be a point where we look, if we get him on a permanent, Joe Rodon as the leader. Ethan Ampadu as the leader. Glenn Kamara is an experienced boy in that group. Could he be a leader? Byram, leader. These are all players who, don't get me wrong, Byram's the next generation. Byram is the next Dallas. He is. So we've got to look to that next point now. I understand what everybody's saying, but yeah. I just think there's an expiry date on this. Yeah, and I agree, Mucker North, he's not a sentiment type of guy. Yeah, he would. But yeah, a second option to Dallas, I guess. But it just depends if we get a left back. But guys, I've been ranting on for long enough. This was supposed to be a 20-minute video. I've gone on for 35 minutes. Classic Connor. It's been an absolute pleasure. Once again, please like the video. 3 things we learned. If you want me to do these live after every single Leeds game, I will do. Normally, I edit it into a 10 to 15 minute package. Let me know in the comment section what you prefer. Do you prefer the edits? Do you prefer me going live? I really appreciate any sort of feedback. As I say, Generation Leeds, be sat there with my old man, chewing the fat podcast. We're going to be putting it on on exclusive Spotify as well. But if you want to head on over there and listen to me and my dad whispering on about Leeds United, it's well worth it, honestly. My dad does speak a lot of sense and calms me down at points. But yeah, well worth it, and all the proceeds go towards the channel as well. We've got a little community over there now, which is nice. But we'll be having loads more stuff coming out, everybody. I hope you're really enjoying the content. There are going to be developments on the channel. I'm going to be going at this full time if I can. And yeah, to go full time, I need a lot of your help. I really do. So yeah, any proceeds really help towards the channel. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure. If you've just joined now, you can go back and watch this on the replay. I have been Connor. This has been 3 Things We Learned. I'll catch you in a bit. Cheers.